Well, Valerie, you came to the wrong place because we do it overtime when it comes to the Christmas celebration here on the Kempire YouTube channel. Oh. Be gone, Scrooge. No, I'm playing. I'm playing Valerie. It's okay. You don't have to love Christmas music. I know what you're here for. You're here for our Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episode 6 of season 13 recap. Yes, the celebration of the holidays is officially here. So even if you don't celebrate, even if you're a Scrooge like Valerie, I'm playing Valerie. Even if you don't celebrate, it's all right. It's not all right. Do better. No. Do better. Anyways. Welcome to the Kempire channel, guys. Your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like the video, be sure to share the video, and be sure to subscribe because it is a subscribers only live chat. I apologize for being late, but as you can see, I was working with Santa and the elves to get the studio together. All right, we were trying to get the studio together. Speaking of Christmas music, you know what album I've been listening to while I was away during Thanksgiving? I was listening to Brandy's new Christmas album, Christmas with Brandy, which I love. I love. I especially love some of the new Christmas music that she created for this project. It has like 6 original songs and then some classics. She performed at the Thanksgiving Day Parade this year here in New York City. I wasn't even here, damn it. And apparently they had record numbers for the amount of people that viewed the Thanksgiving Day Parade. All right? So if you haven't listened to Brandy's new Christmas album, be sure to check that out. I'm so glad she performed Someday at Christmas. Oh, she sounds amazing. So be sure to check out Christmas with Brandy. I will be, of course, sharing some more of my favorite Christmas albums and music throughout the holiday season. And as always, you know what we do here during the holidays. And if you don't, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Did you know you can have lightning and thunder during a snowstorm? I remember one time I was shoveling and I was like, what the hell? Oh. Let's get into a countdown and then let's get into this recap because you might be surprised by my thoughts on last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Because you know I twerk on the fence regularly. So I'll be twerking on this fence in the snow. Let's go.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer. Just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter. I got the fuse. You make a fire. I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead. Just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool.
Thank you, Mama Allie. Mama Allie says she loves the Christmas decorations. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I got to still position myself a little bit better in the studio, so I'm a little bit more centered. There will be more coming to the Kempire studio when it comes to the holidays. But as you can see, we got a lot going on already. We got our tree up. We have our stockings. I even got some new. These are actually literally arrived today. My gingerbread houses. I have too much stuff. I don't know how I live in New York City when we don't have a lot of space in New York City, but I do. I make the space. Anyways, let's get into this recap of the Real Housewives of, I was about to say Salt Lake City. Stay tuned for my recap of the Real Housewives of Miami. That was another good episode as well. Not sure when that will come out, if it will be later today or tomorrow. Stay tuned. Look, two shows in one night is a lot for me, especially because we're covering not just reality TV here on the channel. We cover everything in pop culture. Speaking of pop culture, be sure to check out all of the, I'm going to call the playlist Downfall of Diddy. All the stories are coming out, and now the former bodyguard, former head of his security, has now deleted his Instagram. So, or maybe Diddy deleted it for him? We don't know. All right. Okay, let me just say Sassy. Sassy says, yesterday Kempire mentioned Squid Games, the reality show that's based off the series. I saw the pic on Netflix and said, not my cup of tea, only to come home and see my daughter watching it. This is a Kempire family. It's so good, Sassy. We'll talk about it during Tuesday Takeover. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be talking about 90 Day Fiance, Below Deck Med, and we might do a separate live. I'm not sure, but I will mention Squid Game, the challenge, because it's so good. It's so good. Anyways, so stay tuned for that. All right. Let me get the situation set up. And I did see Paris Hilton and her mom, Kathy Hilton, on Watch What Happens Live last night. And honestly, look, I kind of miss Kathy Hilton on Beverly Hills. I didn't miss the darkness. I didn't like the toxicity of the family drama. But Kathy's so kooky. I kind of missed that kookiness on the show. But we got enough kooky from the ladies that we currently have. All right? So last night's episode, there's a lot. Here's the thing with Kyle. And look, I'm going to defend Kyle today. Oh, Lord.
Lies! The lies!
I'm lying to myself. I'm going to defend Kyle, but then I'm going to call Kyle out. All right? At the same time. And I'm going to call Sutton out because Sutton's not innocent here. And I don't think that Sutton's an easy person to be friends with either. We see poor Garcelle. Poor Garcelle really tries with Sutton. But I also think that Sutton is a good friend as well. In a way. Look. So the new Fox Force flunkies. Oh. Well, Dorit and Kyle are still on the show, so the Fox Force flunkies are still alive and thriving. Okay, thriving is a stretch. All right. So Kyle, Dorit, and Crystal. Crystal's hanging out with them. Remember, Kyle and Crystal were bumping heads just last season. So I don't think people realize that this is kind of interesting to see Crystal hanging out with Dorit and Kyle. Please understand it's a reality show. They're filming a scene. I'm sure a producer says, okay, Crystal, we're going to have you film with Kyle today. So it's not like it was her choice. Poor Crystal. Woo, 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 Crystal. Woo, woo, woo. We got Christmas sweaters on the merch store, so be sure to check that out. Even ones that say, woo, woo, woo. Okay, let's talk about this. So, first of all, Kyle doesn't have a business manager. Kyle has been in the business for years, and she doesn't have a business manager. We have to remember when Kyle got with Mauricio, she didn't have money. Although she's been in the business for years, doesn't mean that she's had money. But the fact that at this point in her life, she doesn't have some sort of business manager, that's interesting. But okay. Dorit says she does have one, but she doesn't listen to them. Okay. Look, all right. So they also talk about, you remember last week's episode, Dorit and Garcelle had a conversation about Dorit being sort of insensitive. Not sort of. She was insensitive to the fact that Garcelle told them, like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with you guys and my kids. And Dorit was just like, it's been a year and a half. And I said to you, that's like saying to Dorit after her situation with the robberies, the alleged robberies, that she should be over it. And I know a lot of you are dogging out Garcelle because of the comment she made last night. But to be honest with you, when Garcelle made that comment, I was like, I wasn't ready for it. And I'm sure a lot of you were like, oh, shoot. And some of you were like, well, Garcelle is a confessional gangster. She won't say it to her face. Who says? Who says? But a lot of you are also saying that Dorit is already preparing her comeback at the reunion. All right. We'll get back to that in a second. So Kyle, Dorit, and Crystal are having tea. They're hanging out, and they're talking about a few different things. So at one point, Kyle reenacts her conversation with Sutton because, as you know, Sutton was clearly inebriated in that conversation where she was like, name him. Name him. She was clearly inebriated. And then she impersonated Erika. Oh, my God. So Sutton believes that Erika set her up in regards to the elevator coming down when it did with the Magic Mike guys. But Dorit in that conversation with Kyle was like, that's impossible. How is that impossible? That is not impossible that Erika could have texted them, we're about to get on the elevator. Get on the elevator. They act like it looked like it was only like one elevator for the floor that they were going from. So it wouldn't surprise me, especially because the Fox Force flunkies are still alive and thriving. All right, there's Erika, there's Kyle, there is Dorit. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I told you, go look at Kyle's face during what Erika was saying, where Erika made up a whole situation. Oh, she called your show. And we were like, what? She never said that. And Kyle's face is just like that. She doesn't want to laugh too hard. Kyle, you have a tell. We can see. You're not that good of an actress. So during the scene where she's reenacting Sutton's reenactment, I'm like, this is why Kim Richards was the best actress. Come on. This is why Kim Richards went so far. This is why Kim Richards booked all the gigs when they were kids. All right? This is why I only remember Kim. I don't remember Kyle being in any of these movies when she was a kid. I mean, I guess she was, whatever. But this is why Kim had a longer career. She's a better actress. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for the gifts and tapping your screens. Let's get to 10,000 likes. We're almost there. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, let's get to, how many likes are we at? Okay, let's get to 200 likes. We have already over 600 people watching on YouTube. Shout out to everyone watching on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. This is our recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. All right. Ooh. This is an interesting take. Amaris says, Erika is a Cancer too. Sutton will forever be on her list. And Sutton's a Virgo. Interesting. You know, we talk astrological signs, which they talk about in this episode. We'll get there. So let me focus. So Kyle reenacts Sutton's reenactment, and I'm just like, she's so over the top. She's so dramatic, and I get it. Sutton was over the top and dramatic in her retake of Erika, but Kyle took it to. I didn't think that you could make it more dramatic, but Kyle found a way. But here's the thing that I didn't love in this conversation that that Dorit and Kyle were alluding to, and poor Crystal's sitting there like, and Crystal's like me. It's hard. Remember, I had to ask you guys. I was like, was Sutton drunk in that scene? I'm not a good person to kind of figure out if someone's drunk or tipsy. Like, I'm the worst. I remember one time I went to Miami with my best friend, who's a Scorpio. He was drinking in the hotel room. I didn't think that he was even tipsy or drunk. We get out to we were in South Beach. We get out to South Beach, and then I realized like, oh shoot, he's drunk. So I'm not a good person to figure out if someone's drunk, high, or any of that stuff. I won't know. So I'm like Crystal in that regard. So Crystal's sort of like, because Dorit and Kyle were alluding like, oh, she's off. They don't want to say that she's drunk. They don't want to say that she's an alcoholic because they already know the ramifications of that when it comes to the audience. Because Kyle is still not able to live down what she did to her sister on the show. All right, so Dorit says, I wouldn't be surprised if she has vodka in her coffee in the morning. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you guys are really like, and these are supposed to be people that are friends with these people. It's one thing for us to say it or to talk about it. And, I really don't love to talk about someone possibly being an alcoholic unless they've admitted it themselves. However, these people are supposed to be friends. Supposed to be. All right? So Dorit says that. And Kyle, I don't know about you guys, but pay attention to Kyle. Kyle is definitely the master manipulator. And she tries to sort of pull Dorit to say more and do more. Because I forgot what Kyle said. Did I write it down? Kyle said something in that conversation with Dorit, sort of like asking her a question. She's like, sort of alluding like, oh, so you're saying that she has a problem? Or something to that. I can't remember what Kyle said. But it was something that I was like, oh my God, these people are so obvious in regards to what they're trying to allude to. And obviously, Crystal sees it too, because Crystal in her confessional is just like, Dorit, you're talking about someone's drinking and everybody in the entire universe knows how you take your alcohol. I don't even remember it. It's like a short glass this. And I'm like, I don't care, Dorit, about your drink. You're so boring. Okay, she's not boring this season, but she's been boring these last couple of seasons. So many of you said it's time for her to go. All right. So they are alluding that Sutton might have a drinking problem. Let's just say what it is. All right. So she says that. And then Crystal in her confessional is just like, first of all, Kyle, you just became sober. So now you're like the authority on people having a drinking problem. Because people could have said the same thing about Kyle last season. And honestly, the reason why I thought Kyle stopped drinking this season wasn't what she said at the end of this episode. I thought the reason why Kyle stopped drinking was because of how she looked last season when she was drinking. To be honest. Okay. So in that scene, so for me, that very first scene of this episode was cringy because I can see clearly what Dorit and Kyle are trying to do here. They're trying to allude that Sutton has a drinking problem. And then Crystal's just like, well, maybe you should have a conversation with her. And she's like, well, maybe don't have it in the evening. Well, and I think Crystal said that innocently. I don't think Crystal was trying to say like, oh, there is a problem. Well, she's like, well, where you don't drink normally at dinner. You know what I mean? And and Kyle responds, oh, well, so you're saying before 10 a.m.? I have to say I did enjoy Crystal's commentary in her confessional during this scene. I did. I kind of wish she said it to the ladies in this moment. However, we have to remember this is an edited scene. We don't know what Crystal necessarily said to them in that scene. Producers could want to make it seem like Crystal's good with them. Crystal's not giving them any sort of pushback. Just saying. We don't know. But I have to say, Kyle's behavior in this episode kind of reminded me of what she did to her sister and her sister's drinking issues on the show and exposed it on the show. It kind of reminds me of that. And I'm just like, and then her talking about Sutton's eating at the end. And look, we know Sutton was talking about Kyle's eating, but I don't think she was necessarily talking about Kyle's eating necessarily in the negative light that she might have been trying to. It was sort of like, you're working out. You're not drinking. You're eating better. So she's just like, you're completely a different person. I don't know who you are. But we already talked about how I feel about people make me seem like the worst person in the world because I don't drink. So now Kyle's dealing with what I've been dealing with for my entire life. Anyways. All right. Move on. Let's move on. So Garcelle and Sutton go out for dinner, and they also are talking about Sutton's relationship with Kyle. All right. But first off, Sutton, I forgot that Sutton says she was a vegetarian and that has bacon every once in a while. Well, she's having a lot of bacon lately. All right. So Sutton says she doesn't like that Kyle defended Erika in the Vegas incident because she feels like the situation was a setup at the elevator. So, and I really see that Garcelle is really trying to be supportive of Sutton this season, where she's chiming in and she's sort of like, they're like playing tennis. Sutton will sort of, because Sutton won't say what she means. You know what I mean? She won't come out. She's not very blunt. So Garcelle will sort of like be the cheerleader and support her in that moment. Well, she's talking about your marriage. So you can see in this conversation with Sutton and Garcelle that Garcelle is trying to pull out. So what exactly are you saying, Sutton? Like, how are you feeling about the situation with Kyle? So Sutton also feels that something's going on with Kyle, something else. And then she's like, with all these life changes, did you notice she got a new sapphire ring? So they flash back to a scene where Sutton's on FaceTime with Kyle, and she's like, "Oh, you got a new ring." And honestly, and I'm gonna be straight with you guys, I don't see the big deal in some of the behavior that Kyle has been exhibiting for these friends to be so worried about Kyle. But I feel like everybody's in on the storyline that there's marriage trouble. Because I have to say this. I don't know if I'm desensitized to the Mauricio rumors. Does anyone recall Mauricio rumors happening before they started filming or when they were filming? I don't remember any Mauricio rumors of him cheating. Look, there have been rumors for years. So I don't remember any recent ones. I personally don't recall. But maybe I was just like, well, there goes another rumor. So it just, again, as you know, I don't really believe this whole Kyle storyline this season. But I feel like there's always been rumors. But I didn't feel like there was anything so concrete recently that made me go, oh, there's something happening. And then all of a sudden, then it would make sense why Kyle is not wearing her ring, why Kyle is hanging out with Morgan Wade. I just don't recall. Tess says the rumors have never really stopped over there. Okay, so maybe that's it. Maybe I just sort of, it's just like, who cares? But if you're part of the replay crew, and those of you that are in the chat, be sure to let us know, do you remember rumors during this time about Mauricio cheating? Boxer Girl says nothing recent. Some of you said yes, you do recall something. Well, maybe we've been desensitized to Mauricio and his philandering ways. Mauricio's looking good though right now. Remember Mauricio, when we first were introduced to him, he was like the hottest husband. And then over the last, few years, he sort of like let himself go. You know what I mean? Maybe he's working hard, building the agency. When I was in LA, I, for the very first time, saw like the agency sign. That's not a sign that we see here in New York. I don't even know if they have an office here in New York. I've never seen an agency sign for like real estate ever. Meaning like they're selling, I'm selling this property. I've never seen one here in New York City. But when I was in LA, I took a picture too. Damn, I should have pulled it up. So, with Dorit, I do remember the rumors with Dorit, but that's not those weren't the headlines that they were talking about in regards to Mauricio. They were talking about other headlines. So, there have always been this rumor that Mauricio and Dorit were having something. Who knows? Look, who knows? All right. Oh, well, let me put my little, I've been going. Let me just put this on, y'all. There we go. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels that talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If you're part of the replay crew, don't forget to let us know where you're watching from and how you would rate this week's episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Live chat. Overwhelmingly, based off the poll, it looks like you guys are rating this episode between 7 and 10. But what's your individual rating of this week's episode? And what are your thoughts? Be sure to let us know in the comment section and in the live chat. So Sutton and Garcelle are talking about, she's got this new sapphire ring. So it's sort of made them think like something's going on. And Garcelle, very much like us, she's like, I don't notice people's jewelry. Only for Garcelle, out of nowhere. As soon as I saw it last night, I did a quick TikTok and an Instagram reel. I was not ready for Garcelle to say this. So Garcelle says, the only time I noticed jewelry is after the robbery. Dorit still had hers.
Lies! The lie!
Look, I know it's not necessarily nice in the real world for someone to say something like that about you in a robbery. It's not necessarily nice. I'm going to just say it. It's not necessarily nice, but that was Real Housewives of Atlanta level shade. And so many people have said, Garcelle, I know you're holding back. You don't want to give it to these ladies because you're in Beverly Hills. But if she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta, no one would even, they'd be like, yes, yes. And someone, IROC says, I would say it in real life. See, we would say, that's like kitchen table talk. That's what we would say to our friends. We're not saying it on a national television show. However, I appreciated how many people rewound it multiple times. I was here with my friend, and I said, oh, I got to rewind that. I got to rewind. Oh, she said what you guys have been saying about those robberies. A lot of you do not believe that those robberies were real. I don't believe the $10,000 robbery at Target, $10,000 in your bag, and 3 men were following you. I don't believe that one. But I was giving you grace with the home invasion. But when Garcelle says, she's like, I don't notice those things. She said, the only time I noticed jewelry was after the robbery. Dorit still had hers. And with a straight face, she did not she did not break character. She was just like this. Editors in Beverly Hills. The only thing that was missing in that confessional was the slurp sound. I know we're in Beverly Hills, but no, we needed the slurp sound, right? We needed a oh my God. I'm sorry. It was so. And here's the thing, Garcelle and Sutton, this episode, if you're not paying attention to Sutton's shade, it's so subtle. It's like a ninja. All right? If Kenya is the shade assassin, Sutton might be the shade ninja. I was not ready for Garcelle to say that. I'm sorry, Garcelle, you did that. But so many of you said in the comment section that Garcelle is a confessional gangster. They all are. They all say all kinds of things in the confessions. Crystal does, Dorit does, and they don't say it in that moment. All right? That's because some of them are very scripted, and some of their shade in the confessionals are given to them. Some of them. All right? Just saying. So, I still have not recovered from that shade from Garcelle because I did not expect it. I didn't see it coming. But it was good. Well, I mean, honestly, both of them are shade ninjas. Garcelle and Sutton, because I didn't expect that from Garcelle. And so many of you also said that you already know that Dorit is preparing her comeback for the reunion. I'm sure she is. And what I hope, Garcelle, that you will do at this reunion is stand on what you said. Stand on what you said. Don't back down. Obviously, Garcelle is not in a good place with Dorit. All right? But like I said, she was saying what you all thought. She was saying what you all thought. Woo! All right, let me say thank you. We got a couple of super chats. Hey, Julie. And thank you, Julie. I did see, Julie, that you sent a couple of super chats for our previous recap. So thank you so much for supporting the channel always. Julie says this. She says, in the week of losing our friends and neighbors in the horrific crash in Niagara Falls, it's nice to take a break to listen to you. Thank you. I'm so sorry to hear about your friends, Julie, as well. And thank you so much for being here. And I'm glad that we can kind of take your mind off of everything that's happening over there. Edward, thank you so much for the super chat. Edward says, if Sutton don't realize her only friend is Garcelle, she's definitely blind. Second, Sutton is becoming a sniper this season. Oh, snippier this season. And I believe this is Kyle's karma from her past seasons of manipulating. Okay. Thank you, Edward, for the super chat. She is definitely getting snippier. I can agree. Julie, thank you so much for another super chat. She says, getting gas. Okay, keep us updated. And my phone is on listening to you. And the guy next to me said, are you listening to that Kempire guy?
Lies. The lie.
Thank you so much for this super chat and this story. Julie says, getting gas and my phone is on listening to you. And the guy next to me said, are you listening to that Kempire guy? Yes, he laughed out loud as his wife loves you. Well, shout out to him. And shout out to the husbands that are forced to listen to me every day. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Julie, for that. That made me laugh. All right, let me put the snow back on. It is 'tis the season over here on the channel. 'Tis the season. All right. So back to this. So Garcelle has that lethal shade. I am still recovering a day later. Sutton mentions that Mauricio is back in the news because of a possible affair. Like I said to you guys before, I don't recall, and look, and this is my job, so I don't recall seeing any new rumors or anything legitimate. You know, like we were just talking about the whole Candace and Chris rumor about this other woman, and she came out and said it wasn't true. Like, I didn't really see anything solid, you know, besides the recent him and the dancer. But they've already announced that they are separated. So if he was with someone else, it's not news. But all right. Anyway, so Erika's storyline this season is that she's trying to revamp her career. She's meeting with this talent manager, Alexis, so that she can get back into doing things. Well, here's the thing, Erika. I got a suggestion for you. Look. I got a suggestion for Erika, y'all. Hear me out. Give up on the music, girl. Give up on the music. No. Because we have to remember, Mercury, come on, a lot was exposed when Tom Girardi was exposed. Tom was paying for that music career. She would go to concerts, allegedly, I'll say. Okay. She would go have these shows at these gay clubs, and she basically was paying them to have her perform. Like, she was shelling out all this money and not getting paid for these performances. All right? But when I saw they flashed back to her crying at that retreat thing that they did at the episode 1, and she's trying to show more empathy. And shout out to this manager, because she said what we've been saying to Erika 2 seasons ago. You got to show some accountability. You got to show some empathy, as her therapist said. And she's like, "What's empathy?" We know you don't know what it is, girl. But we appreciate that you're trying this season. But hear me out. So when they flash back to that scene where Erika was crying, and I said, Erika, you should get into acting. Why haven't you done some acting? I could see her playing someone evil. You know, it's not a stretch for her. Come on. The music is cute, but look, people with actual talent have given up on music. All right. Oh, damn. I am a mess. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. Claire says, I kind of like Erika this season. We do too. Erika is definitely a lot more enjoyable this season. But I'm trying to help her out. Get an acting role. I know for you, reality TV is like acting. But no, we want you to go do like a movie or a show. Get like a little role. I think that would be far better for her. Music doesn't pay, all right? It really doesn't. This is why so many of these musicians that do it now, unless you're doing at a certain level, they kind of do it for the love. And that's why they tour. Because there really is no money in music like it used to be. KJ says, you're going in on all of them. Well, welcome to the party, KJ. That's what we do here. No one is free from the shade. No one. Just saying. All right. So I have to say, I did enjoy this scene with Erika because this is a real part of her story. And it makes sense because a lot of people are like, okay, so this is all leading up to her spinoff. And Alexis asked her, do you want to perform again? And she's like, I would love to. I would love to. Okay. So she says, I can make a few phone calls, and maybe Alexis is the one who gets her hooked up with a this Vegas situation, and not the guy allegedly that she's dating. That's a big guy in Las Vegas. Maybe, maybe. Oh yes, I know she's done some acting, but she hasn't done anything recently, and I like to see her do something recent. You know what I mean? I want to see that. All right. Sidebar. What she does mention, because when we're first introduced to this new talent manager who comes from the world of publicity, she's helped Erika form the team that she has now. Remember Jack from last season, the one that was being accused of putting that story out about Kathy Hilton? And everyone says, well, we think it was Jack, the publicist that you share with Paris. And she was like, what? Why would he do that? He also represents Paris. Only for us to find out that Erika and Jack no longer work together. She says, oh, we're still friends, but we decided not to work with each other anymore. That's Hollywood, y'all. He wants to continue his career in entertainment, and she doesn't want the backlash of what went down last year. That's just entertainment. They've parted ways, and they've agreed not to blast each other. That was so Hollywood. I was looking at this. I was like, yeah. So we never confirmed whether or not it was Jack that put out that story, but we all think it was him because he was sitting there listening. All right. Anyways. All right. So I thought that was a cute scene with Erika and this new person, and this manager was just like, you just need to take accountability because she's concerned. Erika's concerned with Tom has been recently indicted, and she's like, the good thing was that I wasn't indicted, and people can kind of see that I really had no involvement. I don't think people really thought that you necessarily had involvement. I mean, some people did. And there were some situations where people were like, well, it seems like she kind of knew what was going on. I also don't think that Erika was completely oblivious to what was going on with Tom. Because I don't think Erika's as dumb as people may. I don't think she was some dumb housewife sitting at home, didn't know what was going on. I don't think that is not Erika Jane. No. Do I think that she knew every single thing that was going on? No, I don't think she knew every single thing that he was doing that was going on. But I also don't think that she's dumb. But she's also a Cancer. Y'all know how y'all do. Look, y'all know how y'all do. All right. One of my favorite scenes. I'm so loving that we're getting Garcelle and her sons more this season. And I appreciate that from Garcelle because you would think after last season that Garcelle would not want her boys on this show at all. But they're older. And I have to say, I love Jade and his personality. And then seeing Jax in his personality this season, I love him too. I think they have their mother's personality. I don't know about their father. All we know about the father is that he's a cheater.
Lies! The lies!
Okay. But Garcelle this season is really sharing more about her relationship with her boys and how she's raising them. And although they're twins, as they've gotten older, she realizes that she has to parent them very differently. And Jax wants a little bit more independence where Jade doesn't want that sort of independence. He likes being under his mother's wing. All right? So they go out on this, and what I appreciate that Garcelle does with her boys, she sort of has her separate time with them. She does the same with Oliver too. Like, I guess when she goes to Vegas, she'll have her separate time with Oliver. She'll have her separate time with Jade. She'll have her separate time with Jax. So we find out. Well, first of all, Garcelle does mention the conversation that she had with them earlier in the season where it kind of hurt her feelings. So Jax says that he's known about the father's cheating since he was 8 years old. Garcelle says that she didn't even know about that he knew. And she's like, how did you know? And he says, I looked it up. Because of course you see what's happening with your parents. Your mom and your dad are no longer together. And we have to remember, 8 years old, these kids are on the iPads. They're a lot smarter than them, maybe when we were younger. We also didn't have computers like that. You know what I mean? We didn't have like phones and things like that. So he said when he was 8 years old, Jax, he Googled schmoogled and found out that his father was a low down dirty cheat. Oh, sorry, Jax. But he knows that this divorce and this separation was his father's fault. I wonder if he knows that his father was cheating for 5 years. I'm saying, well, if he Google Schmoogle like we did the last time I recapped this show, when we Google Schmoogled it, 5 years of their 9 years of being together, this man was cheating. Garcelle revealed that the way she found out was that she saw a text message that said, "I love you." And she thought it was from like one of the boys, but then realized she realized that no, it wasn't. So during this period, she's talking to her husband at the time and saying, tell me. Because she's asking, like, what's going on? Who is that? And she's like, tell me, tell me, tell me. So the boys, being so young, they hear the mom saying, tell me. And Jack, she says she believes, said to his dad, tell her. Because he's like, they keep hearing their mom say, tell me. And you know what happened after that? She found out that he had been cheating, and then she told everybody and their mom, including his coworkers, in an email. Don't mess with a woman's scorn. It's the holidays, guys. Don't forget, Coldest is a proud sponsor of the channel. Head on over to the description of this video for more details on what you can find. Not just water bottles. They have sheets. They have things for your pets. These are great gift ideas if you can't think of something. But don't forget to use the discount code Kempire10 for 10% off of your order. All right? That's Kempire10 for 10% off of your order. Head on over to the description of this video for more details. So I really did appreciate this conversation with Jax and Garcelle. It just felt light, fun, and real. All of that. We had all of that in this one scene with them. And I felt the same when we saw the scene with Garcelle and Jade. I love seeing this. I love the fact we're getting more of them this season. All right. Kyle and Morgan Wade.
How you doing?
So, I never believed that this relationship was real. I believe this was a plot that Todd set up for getting Morgan's name out there. I still believe that, but there was some sexual energy that was going on, because we're body language experts. So I was looking at the body language and I was like, this is interesting interaction. So Kyle went to her tattoo guy. She's getting a new tattoo. And Morgan shows up to film a scene. And there is some sexual energy going on. More so on Morgan's side. Because I feel like Kyle she's an actress. So she's sort of like playing it up. And she's like, you know what I mean? So Morgan talks about how they met. She's like, she stalked me. Yeah, she stalked you because she needed somebody for her storyline. Let's be real. Kyle decided to go lesbian because there's no way that Mauricio would sign up for this storyline if there was a guy involved. He's like, oh, we could do a girl. Easy. Morgan, I know you're probably doing this for your career. Because millions of people watch the show. Now people know who Morgan Wade is. A lot of us did not know who she was. And I like country music. I saw one live performance with her and I was like, but Kathy Hilton says she's a lovely girl. And she's very talented. Okay. But there was some sort of sexual energy in this scene. Morgan said she was fighting with someone on Instagram about Kyle, and Kyle is transforming into her. And so they talk about the rumors that people are talking about their friendship and their relationship. And Kyle just keeps looking at Morgan, and I'm just like, this is interesting. Look, this is interesting. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this is, but I'm not completely convinced anymore that there isn't something sexual happening. We have to remember, Kyle has denied that this is a relationship of any kind. I still think it was disrespectful to her kids to do that music video to play on the rumors that were happening between her and Morgan. I feel like, especially because there is relationship drama happening in your relationship, allegedly, and then to do this video to kind of play off the rumors, in front of your kids. I'm just like, that's if her and Mauricio were good and there were just rumors about her and Morgan, then I could be like, okay, yeah, that's funny in your face because the kids know that you and Mauricio are good, but you and Mauricio aren't good, allegedly. You know what I mean? So Kyle's getting a new tattoo that she didn't tell Mo about. All right. So I posted a video on my TikTok. All right. Right before this live. And I said, when she went home to show Mauricio the tattoo, and a lot of you were saying this, a couple of you said this, that you felt like this scene with Mauricio was a reshoot. But I learned a thing or two about tattoos. I don't have a tattoo. I thought after you have a tattoo, usually you have to kind of keep it covered. I know that they have the clear plastic wrap that you know that covers it. But did you guys notice that when she showed it to Mauricio, there was nothing covering it? And I was like, is this a real tattoo? Is this just a storyline? Like, everything is suspect to me right now. But rewinding back. So as she's getting this tattoo, Kyle is like holding Morgan's hand. She's like, oh, hold my hand as I get this tattoo. Oh. Look, Kyle also tells Morgan about this weed dinner that she's planning, and Morgan's just like, well, you don't even like edibles, so why would you have this? So she's talking about how her friends are questioning her sobriety, and Morgan has been sober for the last 6 years. So this is what they relate on. They relate on being sober. They both like to work out. You know, they're really getting, you know, they're really vibing. Okay, they're just friends. See, Bernie, thank you, Bernie. Because, yeah, a lot of people were telling me, I was learning a thing or two. Bernie says you don't need to cover it. I didn't cover mine. Here's the thing. A lot of people had different opinions. I have to say it's mixed. But I did see a lot of people say in regards to tattoos, you don't always have to cover it. Some people were like, yeah, I covered mine. But, see, even Auntie says you do have to. I don't know. Here's the thing with Kyle, that it's just hard to believe anything that comes out of her mouth. It's hard to believe anything that comes out of her mouth. But the mystery of the tattoo, we shall see. Maybe that will come up during the reunion. Or was it a reshoot? This goes back to reality TV. When you watch reality TV, like, is it really real? But I have to say, the Kyle and Morgan scene was interesting. It was interesting. Amara says you do. It's a scar until it heals. I've heard mixed things about the tattoo situation, but I have to say it stood out to me. I had the thought after I was watching this episode a second time. All right. So we have that scene with Kyle and Morgan. Replay crew, those of you in the live chat, after watching that scene, after seeing their interaction together, after seeing their energies intertwine, all right, do you think that there is something happening here? Do you think? Kalani says, I covered my tattoos, but only for a few days. Well, maybe I need to talk to a tattoo artist or something. They'll tell me the official criteria. Auntie says, my grandson had one. It was covered. See, I mean, maybe it depends on the tattoo artist as well. Black Angel says, the tattoo looked old. It wasn't swollen like a fresh one. That's what I was thinking. The lies.
Lies, the lies.
But maybe it was a scene that they refilmed. It could be. Very much so. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were refilming scenes, because I felt like the whole Mauricio and Kyle, not cheating, but marriage trouble stuff came towards the end of their filming. And I was just like, how are we talking about this at the top of the season? But I was like, all right. The timeline is not timelining for me, to be honest with you. Okay, Bernie, thank you. Bernie says, as a gay, I don't see chemistry between Kyle and not Hillbilly. Come on now. Here's the thing. I always said that I don't really trust my gaydar. I don't really trust my gaydar. So it's hard for me. I had to literally ask my lesbian friend. So I was like, maybe I need to ask a lesbian. I was like, okay, you're watching this scene. Do you think something's happening between these two? She told me yes.
How you doing?
And you know, when I was on Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald, if you missed it, go check it out. It's here on YouTube. Heather says that she believes that something's going on. She feels like they are scissoring. Oh my God. Hey, Mama Ali. She says, it really depends on the artist and the placement. I would think with her jeans rubbing on that tat. See, that was what stood out to me. Kyle would cover it. So it was a reshoot. See, that's what I was thinking too. It's such a weird area for her not to cover it. You know what I mean? But that's me. Replay crew, I want to know your thoughts on our speculation. I want to know your thoughts and how you would rate the latest episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm still enjoying Beverly Hills. I know the ratings came out for some of our favorite shows last week, and they were experiencing their season low in live viewers. We also have to keep in mind it was a holiday week. A lot of us were traveling. So that's probably part of the reason why. Some people are just catching up with some of their shows from last week. I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and holiday season. As you can see, it's officially the holidays here on the channel. All right, let me move on because this was a long episode. I didn't realize it was a supersized episode. Or maybe I saw more in the Peacock version. All right, so Kyle goes home, and apparently, I forgot that Mauricio had a book come out. I forgot about that. So he was talking about his book, and the producer asked Kyle, so why haven't you read his book? She's like, I'm gonna read it. Again, it feels so forced that they're trying to allude to problems in Kyle and Mauricio's marriage. She's like, I'm gonna read it. It just feels so all of a sudden. Anyone else? But I've been saying this. Or maybe, look, hear me. This is some speculation. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's just us here. Maybe Mauricio and Kyle came up with this plot and plan for this season. And she's like, you know what? Because I wouldn't be surprised. They're in Hollywood. A Hollywood publicist could have been like, well, we're trying to launch Morgan Wade's career. It'd be fantastic if we can have her on the show and get her out there. Only for Morgan and Kyle to really hit it off. And now it's sexual. Anyone? Look, anyone think? Maybe? You know how you come up with a plot and a plan? So, somewhat like when you guys invite a third into your relationship, and you're like, it's just going to be a one-time thing, and all of a sudden, one of the parties involved that are in the relationship are texting with that third person that was just supposed to be a wham bam thank you ma'am. And now, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Look, you never know. All right, let's move on because we have so much more to talk about. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. I do want to take callers today, so let me get through the rest of this. All right. So, she hasn't read his book. She tells him about her tattoo. She shows the tattoo. I told you my speculation about the tattoo. And he's like, Love Bean, you can stop getting tattoos. And he's like, well, hopefully I'll get to see that tattoo often. And she's like, well, okay, Kyle, this is why Kim is the better actress. Sutton and Dorit. So, as you know, Sutton this season, part of her storyline is the fact that she wants to start dating and she wants to find her partner. And she's hired a matchmaker. Let me just tell you something. Avi, I love Avi. He is so funny. Shading Sutton, shading Dorit when she just enters into the home. And then he's talking to the other guy and he's like, about the matchmaker. Brooklyn Star says, now Kempire, I'm saved. What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Okay. He shades the matchmaker. She's like, she's very bubbly. Oh, he is the perfect. I don't know if Avi's gay, but I'm going to assume. Avi is oh my God, he's so funny. It's so funny. And shout out to Josh. I did find out where Josh was. So apparently when I mentioned this, a lot of you went to Zach and asked and said, Kempire is trying to find out what happened to Josh and is all good. Is everything good with Josh and Sutton? So I actually got a video of, well, not here, I can't. But I got a video from Zach with Josh. So Josh is good, still supports Sutton. They're all is good. There's no drama. Well, I'm sorry, Josh. I've moved on. I loved having Josh there with Sutton, but I've moved on to Avi. Avi, come on. No, I'm just glad that there's no drama. Because I was like, where's Josh? But Avi is sending me this season. All right? All right. So Sutton is dating. Look, Sutton has her ways. Sutton wants... Dorit's going to help her. Sutton's very picky. She's mentioning their fashions, and Dorit's like, you really should not be talking about anyone's fashions. So Sutton's zooming in on their crotch. So Sutton finally figures out a possible bachelor that she's going to date. I mean, look, I feel like at a certain level, you really should be getting a matchmaker. I don't feel like you should be on the Hinge and the Twinda. The Twinda? Look, what's the Twinda? On the Tinder. And, you know, I just feel like at a certain, especially because you're a public person, you should get a matchmaker. Support local businesses. Come on. These apps nowadays are so they're it's like multi-level it's like disgusting. So I used to be like, yes, do the apps, but now I'm just like they're always trying to nickel and dime you in these apps. No, if you can afford one, go get you a matchmaker. Support local businesses. Because it's probably like a dying business, matchmaking. Remember, we loved our Love Match Atlanta. I don't think they should give up on that. I would watch a show about matchmaking because I feel like we learned a lot from Love Match Atlanta in regards to dating. And I told you, when I'm ready, Lamont, I'm gonna get me a matchmaker. I don't even think I'm gonna need one. Just saying, not the way that my stock is going. Just saying. Let me say thank you. Miata, hey. Miata, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, hey, love, the Christmas, love the Christmas decor. Did you see what Heather said about never filming with Monica again? What do you think about that bold statement? I literally just saw that before we went live. Here's the thing. Heather, who the hell did you think you are? If they tell you that you're going to film with her, you're going to film with her. You are not Teresa Giudice of Salt Lake City. So sit down. If anything, Monica is the most interesting MVP of the season. You better film with her, or it's your job. Thank you, Miata. I was like, she got nerve. Look, she got nerve. Like, you are not the queen of Salt Lake City. You will film with her, and you will love it. Girl. Tusi? I apologize if I'm mispronouncing. I'm sure probably am. I was not prepared for Garcelle's response. I was not either. Oh, that was my favorite part of the episode. Oh, I did see that PK is shading Sutton on his Instagram story. I'm not going to read it to you. However, the reason why he's shading Sutton was because Sutton made a shady comment about Dorit choosing PK, that she's got to, let her standards go. Because look how Dorit got her man. I mean, again, this is why she is a shade ninja. I was not ready for that shade. I was like, pow, 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 pow. Like, you just never know who's going to get it. It's like here. You just never know who's going to get it. I thought that was interesting. Thank you so much for the super chat. Mistress, thank you so much for the super chat. Mistress says, I haven't watched this show for 13 years. Kyle's marriage means everything to her. I don't believe she would sacrifice her marriage for the show or for anyone. Mauricio went too far and now she's done. Okay. I mean, look, when you say it like that, it makes complete sense. But then when you think about how people are when you think about how Kyle has moved over the years, yes, that sounds great and that sounds good. But remember, Kyle has had her friends and family on this show, and she's thrown them under the bus. Just last season, for other people that aren't her family, that aren't even like really her friends. So when I think about that part, I'm like, well, look, case in point, look at her family situation. All right. Anyways, moving on. Where do I want to go? So Sutton is dating. Great. So Kyle FaceTimes Morgan, and this is when we find out Kyle tattooed her initial on Morgan's body. How do you guys feel about that? It felt cringy to me. It felt weird to me. I'm like, is it the tattoo real? But then I was thinking to myself, Morgan doesn't care. Morgan has all kinds of tattoos. And then Morgan was like, well, I have a tattoo from Kyle Richards. Look. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't behavior that friends even do. But okay, whatever. So Kyle's getting ready for her weed party. Garcelle, oh God, see another moment where Garcelle is another shade ninja. All right. So Garcelle wants to take a picture like this, and she's like, "Who am I? Who am I?" As she's getting ready for this party, she's like, "Who am?" Something must have happened for Garcelle to be shading Dorit this many times, and maybe, because again, we don't know when these things are filmed. Maybe this is coming from they didn't necessarily resolve their issues in regards to what Dorit said. Or maybe she's just shady. I can appreciate that too. All right. Miranda says, I ain't tattooing my friend on my body. I agree. It's weird. It's weird unless we're like best friends. Best friends. Like for years. But okay. So when Garcelle shades Dorit again in this episode, I was like, damn. All right, so let's get to this Kyle's party. So Kyle's party had some familiar faces that we have not seen in a while. Camille and Denise were there. All right. And Camille was fun. Faye Resnick was there. I completely forgot that Camille and Faye Resnick, I mean, after all these years, they still don't like each other. After all these years, they don't like each other. But as you also probably saw on social media, Camille and Denise Richards have been forming a friendship. So they arrived together. Sutton arrived with Cynthia Bailey. So that was nice to see Cynthia. But when Denise arrived, Garcelle was like, oh. And she was like, why oh? But can we talk? Because although I don't know when someone's drunk necessarily, Denise was drunk. Can we just say it? Denise was drunk. And I did not like that for her. And look, maybe she was coming from another situation. I don't know. Maybe she had anxiety and that's why she decided to have a little something. I was just uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, Denise, this is your return to the franchise. You kind of left scared from the rat lady. And now you're back and you're drunk. And everyone's just... I just wish she wasn't drunk. So this party is not over, though. Okay, this party is not over. I did find it interesting when the Chef Chris, came out. He's an herbal chef. Talked about how this sort of weed dinner, this CBD dinner, was going to go. And just talking about the elevation. Honestly, I probably would do it. And I don't do any of that stuff. I told you I've been to Amsterdam how many times I've never done any of the stuff that's there. Not an edible, nothing. But part of me is like, oh, I probably would do that. Not on camera. Look, not on camera. This is probably why Garcelle and some of the other ladies like, I'm not doing this. Not on camera. But like for amongst friends, like I probably would do it. Especially because the way he described how it would go. Like, you're going to go up and then you're going to go down. Tyra says, Kempire, did you know Camille's a Virgo? Of course. Look, we shade all the signs, okay? Calm down. All right, so we finally get to meet Anne-Marie. 6 episodes in, and we get to meet Anne-Marie. How are you guys feeling about Anne-Marie? You know we love to talk about astrological signs. Since we're talking about astrological signs. She's an Aries. I have to say, a lot of my close female friends are Aries women. Not Crystal shaded. First of all, Sutton shaded her in the dress. She's like, didn't Erika wear that dress when she was trying to be Barbie like 2 seasons ago? They still make that dress? I was not ready for the Anne-Marie shade. Okay. So Anne-Marie is actually friends with Kyle. She's coming through Kyle. She's also Kyle's neighbor. We haven't talked about, first of all, there's a couple of things about Anne-Marie and her husband that we haven't talked about. He recently was in the news. An essay lawsuit was filed against him from 1994. She responded in a shady way on social media. Anne-Marie did. I'll say this though, based off what we got from Anne-Marie last night, I don't mind her. But I wasn't ready for the Crystal shade. So Crystal knows Anne-Marie, and she's like, Anne-Marie talks a lot. She asks a lot of questions. She's nosy. And then I said, well, we already knew at this point that she's an Aries. And I was like, well, that tracks. Aries. That tracks for Aries. Aries are very inquisitive. They do talk a lot. Okay. So I was like, well, that makes sense. Also, Anne-Marie's birthday is the same birthday as Kyle's mother. So she was like, oh, I got goosebumps. I'm sure you did, Kyle. Kyle decides to ask Anne-Marie, how many times a week do you work out? She's like, well, 6 to 7 times a week. She was like, well, I need you to say that when the girls come because they're shading me about my changing my eating habits, exercise, and drinking. And Faye Resnick, who's been good friends with Kyle for a very long time, she's like, it's so interesting that people are shading you for being healthy. I agree with Faye in regards to that. I don't know why it's such a big deal that Kyle has decided this season that she's not going to drink. I get it. It's not who she used to be. And I know a lot of you are thinking like, well, it's because it's interesting. Like we're hearing rumors about her marriage and now she's making all these changes. Well, wouldn't you maybe? It makes sense to me that she would be making these changes if she's going through something in her life. At least she's not doing something bad. Here's the thing. If Kyle was making changes like Erika made changes last season where she was mixing pills and alcohol, then I could understand making a big deal about it. This is why I feel like it's a storyline produced by everybody. And this is why Sutton and Garcelle are questioning it. Because this is where I disagree with Sutton and Garcelle. I just feel like it shouldn't be a big deal. At least she's doing something healthy. Like I said, if she was doing what Erika was doing, lashing out at people, drinking and acting abrasive to people, then I could understand being concerned. But I'm like, this is nothing to be concerned about, especially because I don't believe the storyline. iRock on TikTok says, if your friend did a 180, I would ask too. I mean, I probably would ask, but I probably wouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm so concerned. Are you okay? Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. Let's get to 20,000 likes. And those of you that are watching on YouTube, we have over 1,000 people here for our recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Can we get to 500 likes? Can we? Please? Pretty please? Thanks. All right. And guys, if you didn't know, we have some new merch available on the houseofkempire.com. Head on over there. And if you're a member of the channel, head on over to the community tab for a discount. All right. Sharon, thank you so much for the super chat. Sharon says, did they take a shade class before filming this season? I know the shade was runneth over. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Norma. Norma says, damn, first Bravo plugs alcohol. Now it's marijuana on Beverly Hills and hallucinogenics on Miami, which I'll talk about. Cue Curtis Mayfield's Pusher Man. Look, I appreciate it because, I mean, at least it's not the same stuff that we've already seen year after year after year. I thought this was actually an interesting twist on, the use of marijuana because we've heard of making meals with it. But I was like, all right, but a lot of the women weren't even getting it. I know Erika got it. I saw Faye got it. I know Garcelle and Anne-Marie like, I'm not doing that. Sutton said, like, I'm not doing that. All right. So Denise and Camille arrive. Garcelle says, because she's like, I might be a newbie, but I do know that Faye Resnick and Camille do not like each other. And then they flash back to what Camille said about Faye Resnick. And she's like, I know that these two people do not like each other. Only for Kyle to sit them across from each other. Do you think it was intentional? Maybe. Maybe. Um, so Kyle and Sutton have a side conversation. They go into another room and they have a side conversation to talk about their issues. And Sutton makes an excuse for why she behaved the way that she did at her home the other day when she was like, name them. Name them. Here's the thing. I agree with Kyle. Oh, no.
Lies. The lie.
I agree with Kyle. I feel like it was an excuse. I feel like she was making an excuse for being inebriated in that conversation and being a little bit aggressive with Kyle. I believe she came up with an excuse. And maybe that's why she was drinking that day, because she was depressed. I kind of get where Sutton was coming from in regards to, well, in the conversation, when we had a conversation is when I thought my son might be moving to London with his father, because the father has a new position in London, and he wanted to take her son with him. And she says, that bothered her, only for her to say, well, now that's not going to happen because he's going to be with me full time. And now my child support's going to be even more. So Kyle is like really confused. She's like, so I'm not understanding. So you're upset that your son could be going to London, but now he's not going to London. And now you're going to make more money for child support, plus your own spousal support that after taxes, I make $300,000 something dollars. I was like, okay, Sutton. So I kind of get Kyle's confusion, but I also think Kyle's approach is not very this is a moment for you to listen and say, I was like, so you were in a upset place when we had our conversation. Only now you found out you're in a better place because now your son's not going to London. But here where the Shade Ninja got me. All right? Here's where the Shade Ninja got me. She's like, my husband is my ex-husband is a very powerful man. Like globally powerful. It's not like selling houses. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Poor behavior.
That's really upsetting to me, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't say that.
And if you're not paying attention, you probably missed the shade towards Mauricio and Kyle. I was like, Sutton. She said, my husband, he's a globally powerful man. It's not like selling houses. So although I think that Sutton was making excuses for her behavior, very much like, remember when Dorit had the break-in and Sutton was just completely clueless. She's like, and she's so concerned about the designer getting into the country. She could have a little bit more empathy. All right. Oh, but I was just like, wait a minute, Sutton. So I do think that it was an excuse, and I'm glad that Kyle did call her out for it. But Kyle's reaction sometimes, not allowing Sutton the space to say what she's saying and feel the way she's feeling, and instead attacking her in that instance. But I also appreciate her calling out, like, this doesn't make sense. I feel like you're just making an excuse. And then Sutton starts to alluding like, well, I feel like more is happening with you in your marriage. Well, she didn't even say marriage. And then Kyle wants to, well, I feel like you're off. I don't know if it's your feet medicine. What the feet medicine? Her feet medicine's affecting her? What kind of feet medicine is it? I thought that was interesting. Crystal comes back to the room because she wants to find where they are, because everyone's at the table, they're ready to eat, and she sees that they're in this heated conversation, and they're not really saying what it is. Like, Sutton's definitely not saying, I think something's going on in your marriage and you're not being forthcoming. Sutton wants Kyle to open up to her because she thinks that they're friends, so she wants her to open up to her about what's going on in her marriage. So once they get back to the room, and Erika's like, oh, where's our hostess? And Sutton's just like, in denial about something. And then Dorit's reaction. Dorit. All right. So they're sitting at the table finally, and they're all interacting. They explain, the herbal chef explains what this experience of the THC CBD situation is going to be like. Fantastic. Crystal then, because Crystal's working overtime. Producers have said, Crystal, people want us to fire you. It's time for you to work. All right? It's time for you to work. So Crystal says, guys, we have to talk about what happened in the other room. I think we have to clear some things up. So Kyle feels like Sutton is making excuses for her behavior, as I mentioned before, in regards to what happened the other day. Sutton then brings up, well, you're working out a lot, you're not drinking, and you're eating better. I feel like something's going on. So then Kyle, are we really going to talk about eating? Says this to Sutton. And then alludes that Sutton might have an eating. Okay, let's just say it. She's alluding that Sutton might have an eating disorder. Because they won't say how they feel or what they feel. And I have to say, I appreciate Anne-Marie saying in this moment to them, you guys are not, am I the only one that doesn't know what's going on? And Dorit's like, no, I don't know what's going on. You never know what's going on. You know what's going on. All right. She's like, well, if you guys are really friends, just say it. Be blunt, which I can appreciate. I appreciated her saying that because I agree. I think as an audience, we're watching this back and forth. And although we kind of know what Sutton's alluding to, and we kind of know what Kyle's saying, they're not saying it. They're not being direct about it. And then, of course, Garcelle chimes in. She's talking about the marriage. Is that new wedding band? I forgot what she called it, like a makeup band. Is that a makeup band? And she's like, what's a makeup band? When a man cheats and he gets you a little something, I have a cross. And then Erika says, what did Erika say? Erika says, did it burst into flames? And then I love this little interaction between Garcelle and Erika because they start laughing about it. But here's the thing. I don't agree with Garcelle and I don't agree with Sutton in this moment in regards to is there something going on in her marriage? And if there is something going on in her marriage, why are we uncovering it at the table? And I know what you're going to say. Well, Kyle has done it. She's done it to other people over the years on this show. Okay, but do two wrongs make a right? Do two wrongs make it right? I just felt like just because she's not drinking, just because she's eating better, just because she's working out, I don't feel like that's a cause for concern. Yes, you can pull your friend to the side and say, well, is something going on? Like I'm seeing all these rumors, but at the table. So I don't agree with Garcelle and Sutton in regards to calling Kyle out about the changes she's made in her life. But Kyle says, I did mention that this hasn't been a great year in my marriage during the retreat thing that they did. So they flash back to that. But Kyle says, I bought this ring for myself. Like this is not something that he bought for me. I bought this ring for myself, very much like how you buy things for yourself. And then Kyle just comes out and says it. And she says, so are you saying that my husband cheated on me? And Sutton still is like, I'm not saying that. But I just feel like there's more going on. So Garcelle says that there's an elephant in the room and that Kyle doesn't want to address the issue and what is going on in her marriage. Someone says two wrongs for sure makes it right. You know what? Maybe it does. Mo says that Kyle is getting her comeuppance. Amara says they aren't real friends. Well, I kind of feel like Kyle and Sutton, although the friendship is not great, I do feel like there's an actual friendship there off camera. Maybe. Snow White says, but it's called reality television. So this is part of what people are expecting, that you share your life. But I feel like Kyle has been somewhat sharing what's going on in her marriage. But at the same time, I just felt like it felt out of place in that moment. It didn't feel like, although I want them to share, I just felt like it was an attack on just because she's changing for the better. Only for Kyle at the end of this conversation to say, when she has 2 drinks of wine, she feels down and depressed. And right now she doesn't want to feel down and depressed because of what's going on in her life. So that made me more concerned. I was like, oh, well, wait a minute. Like, wait a minute. Anyone else? I was like, when you drink, does it make you depressed? Some people it does. And apparently Kyle does as well. So part of what she's doing is trying to be clear. This is what Kyle has said. She's trying to be in a clear space during this time. Okay, girl. Sidebar. When they were talking about the jewelry and Kyle goes to Garcelle, where is that necklace from? She said, Zara. There were quite a few moments of shade and funny that made this episode really enjoyable. I'm going to give this episode a 10. Not a 10. Not a 10. I'm giving it a 10. I thought this episode was so funny. I thought it was such a funny episode, enjoyable episode. Moments that I did not expect came out of left field from Garcelle, then Sutton. But where it got dark for me was when Kyle was insinuating that Sutton might have a drinking problem at the top of the episode. Now she's talking about how Sutton might have an eating disorder at the end of the episode. And some of you might say, well, Sutton's alluding that her exercising and the eating that she's doing might be something else. There might be an issue with her. Well, then there's that. Here I go twerking on the fence. Religiously. Look, religiously. The poor chef is inside. She's like, should we go out there while they're arguing? Well, look. Well. Yes, go serve them the food. They need it. They need that weed food now. They need it now more than ever. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Kempire Radio YouTube channel. That's where you will see a visual version of our podcast. And if you haven't subscribed to the Kempire Radio podcast, be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. New episodes will be coming very soon. As you know, it's the holidays and there's a lot going on, but a lot is also coming up in the new year. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for some new announcements and be sure that you have your notifications on so you don't miss out on anything. And be sure to follow us on all the platforms, including our TikTok and Instagram and Twitter at TheKempire. And be sure to follow us if you're not on Threads. Yes, Threads is still a thing. All right. Let me say thank you. Norman, thank you so much for another super chat. Norman says Kyle is California sober. Not that I would know. I've heard that term before, meaning that they don't drink, but they're doing other stuff. Okay. But I don't know. Look, I don't know. All right. So let me drop the call-in link really quickly for our members first. So if you're a member of the channel, we're going to drop the call-in link on the community tab. So let me just go there and let me get the link here. And happy holidays, guys. As you can see, we are fully prepared for holidays. So I'll still be adding some more stuff that you guys can see here on my background here. But you can see the tree is already. Look, we got my little puppies here. Whoa, puppy. Got our ornaments as well. All right. Let me drop this link. Okay. Call in link. All right, so if you are a senior royal of the channel, we're dropping the call-in link for you first. And for those that are watching on TikTok, you can get the link as well if you are a member on the channel on our YouTube channel. All right, Royal Court members, we're dropping the call-in link for you next. And Team Kempire members, we're going to drop the call-in link for you as well. Live chat, once we get to, let's get to 550 likes. We're so close. We'll get to 550 likes, and I'll drop the call-in link for the live chat on YouTube in just a second. All right. What else did I want to say about this episode? This was a jam-packed episode of a lot. Anne-Marie offered us a little bit, and I appreciate what she offered us. It wasn't too much. It wasn't. It's not what NECA is doing on Real Housewives of Potomac. I've talked about NECA from Potomac already. I feel like I do feel like Anne-Marie has chosen a side clearly because Kyle has brought her onto the show. But at the same time, I don't feel like she's sort of separated herself from the other ladies yet. It will be interesting though to see how Anne-Marie and Crystal get to the place that they get to. Because as you saw in the preview, they have their sort of battle. But Crystal was very shady towards Anne-Marie as soon as she got there. So it makes me wonder, because they have mutual friends, and I wonder if those mutual friends include the Fleeing 14. Anne-Marie. Look. So, she says that Anne-Marie talks a lot, asks a lot of questions, is nosy. I mean, there's a lot to say about someone. It makes me wonder. All right. Live chat, thank you so much for being here. Shout out to our King's Guards. We cannot do this with our King's Guards holding us down on multiple platforms. Shout out to our King's Guards on TikTok and on YouTube. We appreciate them. Don't forget to say hello and thank you to our King's Guards. King's Guards. And thank you to all of you that have sent in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps. All of that helps support the channel to continue to elevate all the things that we do here, like make it all a little bit more enjoyable here behind the scenes for the holidays. All right. I got some more Christmas shopping to do, but let's get into some callers and then we will get out of here. All right. Hold on. Let me put up my disclaimer if I have it here. Do I have my disclaimer? Oh, I don't have my disclaimer here, do I? Well, I'll tell you my disclaimer. Those of you that are calling in, no profanity, no derogatory statements, and the thoughts and opinions of the callers do not represent the thoughts and opinions of myself, the Kempire LLC, or any of our sponsors. Okay? All right. Someone says Anne-Marie's a fan. Well, at this point, everyone that's on the show is a fan, right? At this point. All right, let's bring up. All right, thank you. Oh, I like this on TikTok right now. All right, let's bring up Miss Wendy, who's backstage first. Hold on, Miss Wendy. What's going on, Miss Wendy?
Hey, can you hear me, Kempire?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, because I have my AirPods in because I'm in the office. Pray for me, y'all. I want to get back working from home, and this is not fun. I've been in the office since August, so I'm just having the blues. But watching you just helps everything go along.
Thank you.
So I want to be an advocate for Sutton when she was telling Cal her story. We don't know the timeline on when all of this has occurred.
Mhm.
So maybe the time when she was saying name them, that was probably when she was getting all this information about her ex-husband moving and everything, and her son is possibly moving. So yes, she probably was, out of her head and stuff like that. And then it could have been like some time between that time and then the time that Cal had her party. So we don't know how long that was. So it may seem like it was like a couple of days ago and stuff like that, but it could have been like a month or so. We don't know.
Yeah.
So by time she went to Cal's house, everything was all figured out.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that, and I love you, and I'm glad you're home from.
Thank you.
I know where you was at, but I'm glad that you're home. And next time you need to do a pop-up or something, and I would drive to come see you. I want you to know that because I'm in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, and you don't want me to come to Memphis.
No, do not come to Memphis, please. We want to keep you alive, Kempire.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
You too. Thanks, Wendy. Take care. Bye. Yeah, I might have to do something in Nashville. How far is Nashville from Memphis? I wonder. You guys will let me know in the chat. All right, Alex is backstage, and I'm surprised Alex wasn't the first one backstage. What's going on, Alex?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
How's my sound? Okay.
Eh.
So, I had to log out. I was first, but my real name was popped up because I got a new phone. So, it popped up my real name. So, I had to drop out and fix it. But I'm here now.
Lies!
Listen.
The lie!
Yeah. Anyway, isn't it weird how Beverly Hills has that history of hiring Virgos? Is that not weird to y'all? Adrian was a Virgo, Camille was a Virgo, Kim was a Virgo, Lisa was a Virgo, Sutton was a Virgo, and I feel like there was one more that I'm forgetting. Maybe Carlton or Joyce or something like that. Anyway, Anne Marie, I actually like her. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the season. I usually don't like you, you Aries. You get on my nerves. But I like her. She seems neutral, other than she kind of, towards the end, seems like Kyle's guard dog. Now, listen here. I was not going to believe the Morgan and Kyle relationship, but for now, it looks like they are bumping pocketbooks, and it's very apparent in my life, obviously, from experience. You can see it, and I see it. I have a good radar. I have a good radar.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it definitely. Kyle, you better not be lying to me though. Kyle, you need to get off the show. I already don't like her, so she better not be lying about this relationship. Also, it would be interesting that they did your whole thing about how maybe they came on the show to promote Morgan and her music and then something happened. That would be very interesting to me, and that would make a lot of sense. Crystal, I am happy that you are putting in some more work. Thank you, Jesus, because we have been waiting on it. I love Crystal. She is beautiful. She's smart. I love her husband. I love her family, and I'm happy she's finally putting in the work. Sutton, I love you too, but you're kind of crazy. And I love your assistant, Avi. Very funny. Very funny. All right, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Thank you so much
All
for
right,
calling
bye.
in.
Oh, and by the way, Morgan, you are a hillbilly. Anyway, bye-bye.
Why y'all calling her a hillbilly? Anyways. All right. Let's bring up Miss Esquire next. We haven't talked to Miss Esquire in a minute. What's going on, Miss Esquire?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm very good. Okay, so first of all, let me say, I'm from Memphis. I live in Nashville. I live between Nashville and LA, but I'm from Memphis, and you would do fine in Memphis, baby. Come on down to Nashville or Memphis, whichever one you want to do. I think more of your fans are probably in Memphis. The food is better in Memphis, but you will be safer here in Nashville. We only 3 hours apart.
Okay.
I would say it is very interesting on Beverly Hills to go from are people doing coke in the bathroom to let's have a whole weed dinner. You know, again, the hypocrisy sells itself, but we ain't gonna talk about it. So here's the thing with Kyle. As a bisexual woman myself, Kyle is not getting it in with Morgan. Now Morgan is exactly my cup of tea, and if she lives in Nashville, I would love to know. But Kyle is playing around with this little girl. Kyle is not into that girl. This is for a show. And that is kind of my problem is that I don't know that Garcelle and Sutton really know about what's going on with Morgan and them. I think we're seeing scenes out of order. And so Garcelle and Sutton are barking up the right tree, but they don't have the right receipts. And so I don't like the way that they're going about it. And I'm always usually on Garcelle and Sutton's team, but I don't like the way they're coming at Kyle. Their receipts are not receipting. Their reads are not landing, to be honest. And Sutton does have enough to sweep around her own front door on. She really don't need to be worried about Kyle in this way. So it's coming through as scripted. It's coming through as production is pushing them to be the ones to bring this storyline out. And it's not natural. And that's what I don't like because Garcelle and Sutton usually give very natural reads, very natural, like we gonna talk about what the people don't want to talk about. This don't feel natural and it don't feel like them. I will also say there's been some reads of Garcelle's that I thought were very poor taste. One of them being the jewelry read on Dorit. I didn't like that. And if Dorit comes for her in the reunion, I ain't gonna have nothing to say about it. So I want Garcelle to stick to the rivers in the lake she used to, because she's my girl, but I'm just not liking it. I did think it was funny too that the two black girls were like, y'all ain't gonna get us doing weed on national television. No. Anne Marie is absolutely a NECA. I have to disagree with you there. Now, she's not coming as hard as NECA, but you are giving fan. You are giving, I got on here by the skin of my teeth because Kyle wants to make me her lap dog and I'm going to play my position. And I don't like that. I like when people come on the show as friends of certain people, but they're open to getting to know the entire group. Anne Marie is not giving me that. So you're giving me, you've watched the show, you've decided who you're going to align yourself with, and you really aren't going to see it for Sutton or Garcelle. And that's not fun to watch. That's like what's going on in Potomac right now, and it's why that show is insufferable. Last thing I'm going to say is Faye Resnick is absolutely the Marlo Hampton of this show, and I either want them to give her a diamond or go away. I'm tired of seeing her every blue moon pop up on my show. She looks gorgeous every time. The lady gives looks now, honey. Mama looks good for her age and for my age as well. But you absolutely serve no purpose. Either you're going to be a consistent friend of so we can really get into your tea, or I just don't want to see her saying anything anymore. Be at the dinners, but keep it cute. That's it. It's so good to see you. It's so good to talk to you. Honey, I have a lot I want to talk to you about, particularly with the Miami girls, because I have to read Larsa for filth. So when are we talking about
that? I have no idea. I have to rewatch the episode. But
let me know, because I have philosophical and psychological reads for Larsa when it comes to her and Gertie. But love you.
Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye. I agree about Faye Resnick. She was chiming in a lot during this episode and during this scene, but it feels like they always bring her on, and then it's sort of like, oh, okay, and then we don't see her for like 2 seasons. But we know that Faye Resnick is real friends with Kyle, but she's also real friends with Kathy Hilton. Anyways. Guys, thank you to everyone that called in. Thank you to everyone that shared the live. Those of you that sent in super chats, Venmos, that were participating in the conversation in the live chat. We appreciate you guys. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know how you would rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, your thoughts on the episode, and your thoughts on what everyone had to say about the episode. What do you believe? Do you believe it is a storyline? Do you think this is pre-produced? We shall see. We shall see. We're going to continue to watch, but I did enjoy the episode. And look, it's still too early for us to judge Anne Marie. And I will wait and see how Anne Marie plays out over the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if Anne Marie's having an issue with Crystal that Kyle sent her. Because producers probably have told Kyle, you and Crystal need to get along this season. I wouldn't be surprised. So it will be interesting to see how Anne Marie and Crystal get to the place that they've gotten to. All right. Brooklyn says, Faye's past is too shady for a reality show. Yeah. The morally corrupt Faye Resnick. How'd you guys feel about seeing Camille and Denise? I told you I felt cringy seeing Denise because she was drunk. But other than that, Libra says Kathy was a hoot on Watch What Happens Live. She was. It was nice also seeing Cynthia Bailey in this scene. It was an interesting dinner. Dinner. Very interesting. Shout out to everyone watching on Facebook, those of you watching on Twitch, Twitter, and of course here on TikTok. We appreciate you guys. Thank you to our channel members. To become a member of the channel, head on over to TheKempire.com/join. And of course, thank you to our King's Guards for holding us down on multiple platforms. We appreciate them as well. Out of here, guys, so I can go watch The Real Housewives of Miami. I mean, I did watch it, but I need to rewatch it. All right, we're going to get out of here, y'all. See you guys later.